Welcome to the 2019 WNBA Preview Show. I'm Roz Goldon-Woode, and I'm here with one of the greats, a three-time WNBA champion, formerly on the executive staff with the New York Liberty, but now one of our WNBA and NBA analysts, Win Cash.
You know how we do it, Roz.
You know, girl, blow it up. And you know, this season is unique because it walks away from the status quo. There's a lot that's new, and with that it means there's a lot of excitement and opportunity. This summer, the league boasts a new logo and for the first time ever, a new commissioner. Cathy Engelbert joins the WNBA as the first ever commissioner for the league, and here's what she had to say. It is an absolute privilege to be joining the WNBA at such an exciting and important time in its history. I see tremendous opportunity to bolster visibility for the sport of women's basketball, empower the players, and enhance fan engagement. And she's not going to join officially until mid-July, but as she comes in as the commissioner, what are her first priorities?
Her first priority is to engage the players. The players are looking for someone that's going to engage them immediately. Then secondly, she's going to have a plan in place and letting the fans know that I'm here. She has a great basketball IQ. She played at a high level, played at Lehigh. Also comes from a background, an executive, being a CEO of Deloitte. Listen, you don't get to be the CEO of Deloitte if you don't have some executive experience. So I think she'll bring all of those intangibles to this position. And listen, she has that commissioner title, Roz. That means she has the power to start making some changes, and the players want to see that.
We are excited for her vision and leadership, especially with the league starting this weekend.
Yes.
May 24th, the season kicks off Friday night with the Dallas Wings at the Atlanta Dream. And then after that, the Indiana Fever visit the New York Liberty. And Dallas will hit the court without Liz Cambage, who was recently traded to the Las Vegas Aces. So now you've got this Aces squad. They have the returning Rookie of the Year and A'ja Wilson. And then they add Liz Cambage. I mean, how does this front court shake up the whole league?
Well, you see Twitter went crazy with this trade, and obviously you think about Bill Lambert, and he got the nickname Trader Bill for a reason.
Right.
Able to get this trade done, and not too shabby. I mean, they also have Dan Padover, who's now the GM there, that's been doing some marvelous things. They brought in some outside shooting in Sugar Rogers, but you have to think about what Cambage and also A'ja Wilson are going to do on that front line. A'ja Wilson last year was 20-8. I mean, Roz, those numbers right there, can get you to MVP. You add another 20-8 to that, and that means dominance on the inside. So the Aces will have their front court prepared. Now it's all about what they'll get from the perimeter game.
Right, and then they added the #1 draft pick in Jackie Young. So how does her impact help them potentially be a title contender?
This is the best situation. If you're the #1 pick coming into a situation where they're just looking for you to come in and contribute. They're not looking for you to have to come in with star power because she has some great pieces around her. I think she'll have to come in, she'll have to defend. Bill's going to have an opportunity to post her up. He loves those bigger guards. She's really aggressive, and she has a motor that can go. So look for her to have a solid season and pick up all the pieces when that front court's not really clicking.
All right, now let's move on to the Washington Mystics. This is a team last season that made it all the way to the finals but fell short. And now Elena Delle Donne is fully healthy coming into the season, and they bring back Emma Mieseman.
I mean, if you're coached by Tebow right now, are you not just excited about this group of ladies that you have an opportunity to get back to another finals? I mean, Elena Delle Donne, just her in general, when she's healthy and at her peak performance, she just performs at an elite level, MVP caliber type of player. But I mean, Christy Tolliver from the outside. This team can shoot the outside. They play just like, I would say, the Golden State Warriors. They're all about the fundamentals. Move the basketball, and whoever is open, that's the person that takes the shot. That's why they're so tough to defend. But defensively, having Mieseman back is going to be big for them. She opens it up on the outside, but also she can defend some of those bigger players that Atlanta doesn't necessarily want to guard down there on the low block.
You know, a rookie that I enjoyed from last season was Ariel Atkins. Yes. I mean, she was so strong and tough at her position. What's that jump she can make in year 2?
Well, you know, she's going to be, that second year is always that year where people are looking and say, okay, was the first year, the rookie year, a fluke or not? Listen, I talked to Tina Thompson, and she is so high because she coached her in college, and she just said this kid has a motor that can go. She just has to stay consistent. Her shooting from the outside is going to be huge for this team if they expect to get back to the finals.
All right, let's move on to the LA Sparks, and it's going to be a lot of sister.
Yeah.
So the Ogwumike sisters are back together for the first time for their days at Stanford University.
I knew we were going to get a Stanford reference in here at some point.
Go Stanford, go Nigerians, go Ogwumikes. So little sister Chene is joining big sis Nneka, but they also have Candace Parker, who is still returning from some injury, and then Jontel Lavender. I mean, they're big. How do they manage all this size?
Well, they have a guy that's at the helm now, and Derek Fisher, and that's going to be his responsibility to get this team clicking on all cylinders. Right now, the expectation is high. They want to get back to the championship and win another championship in LA. So he's going to have to figure out how to utilize all the different players. The one thing about Candace Parker that's so great is she's so diverse where she doesn't need to be on a low block. She can be out there on the wing. She can shoot it from the outside, can get to the basket. The perimeter game is going to have to show up for them. Candace Parker not being there for a few weeks, no problem. Gives other players like young Kalani Brown, who was drafted in the first round, an opportunity to play. Gives Lavender an opportunity to get those minutes. And also the Ogwumike sisters, they're going to need to figure out how they play that high-low game. Get some of that Stanford magic back in the system. Listen, it's better to be looking at the Sparks right now than be dealing with, across the hall, all that other stuff that's going on out there with the Lakers, right?
All right, so they have some stability, at least with them in LA, and we will stay on the West Coast. We'll be with the Phoenix Mercury. All right, Diana Taurasi, back surgery. She's expected back in about 10 to 12 weeks. So all eyes go to, I imagine, Brittany Griner, and we know how great she is on defense, but what does she need to be offensively for this team?
I think she has to be hungry. She has to demand that she's getting touches, I think, every time down the floor. You have to go through Griner offensively because she commands a double team immediately. It's very difficult to guard her one-on-one. So anytime you have to come with a double, that opens it up for shooters on the outside. We know they have DeWanna Bonner. We know now they have a vet in Essence Carson that's going to be there to knock down shots from the outside. So this is a team, I think Sandy Brundello will have them primed, ready to go. But Brittany Griner last year had about 13 to 14 touches a game, shot attempts. She's going to need to be at least at 20 this year without Diana Taurasi in the lineup.
Absolutely. And Swin, we were talking and you mentioned you had the same back surgery that Diana Taurasi did, and you even gave her a call or reached out to her and spoke to her. What did you say?
Well, basically, Dee and I talked before her surgery, and I think for me was just like, once you get it done, you just feel better right away. And the thing I like about Diana is that she understands it's surgery. She's going to take her time to get back, but she's hungry to be out there on the floor. So if you're a Phoenix Mercury fan, people are saying, oh, we don't know if we'll see Diana back this year. I do believe you will see Diana back playing this season and playing at an elite level. And to me, that's really scary. No pain in your back, telling you. It can happen. You can have an unbelievable year. I was able to do it, and Diana will be back. I believe that.
Any basketball fan is certainly hoping to have Diana Taurasi back on the court and as full to her capabilities as possible.
Yes.
Swin, it's kind of odd to talk about title contenders and not bring up the defending champions, the Seattle Storm. We mean no disrespect. The champs will have to figure out how to repeat without league and finals MVP Breanna Stewart. We'll discuss them more next. At the wild card teams this season, like the Minnesota Lynx, who are reloading without stars Maya Moore and Lindsay Whaling this season.
Maya!
Tough off-balance shot. That's why she is one of the greats.
Minnesota has needed that. They need more of Maya Moore. Just amazing, nearly unstoppable.
Lindsay Whalen, one of the all-time great winners.
Whalen hits a three and turns around and has some things to say.
Whalen looking to answer. She does. Title number 4 for the Minnesota Lynx dynasty comes with the taste of sweet redemption.
The Lynx have been a perennial powerhouse, winning 4 titles and making 6 finals appearances since 2011. But it is a new era for them. Maya Moore is not going to play this season. She wants to pursue her passions and her ministry. Lindsay Whalen this year, she's retired. Even Simone Augustus returns, but they'll be managing how they use her on the court at this point of her career. So you imagine for this season, the dominant focal point of offense and defense has to start with Sylvia Fowles.
I think it's going to start with Sylvia Fowles, but don't get too far away from the fact that Simone Augustus still got a lot left in the tank.
Okay, let me put some respect on her name. I didn't mean to.
No, definitely not you. But I've been seeing on social media, and people are like, no Maya, no Lindsay. What's going to happen? I'm like, you have 2 Olympians on that team right now that understand what it means to win games. So not only, Roz, do they have Sylvia Fowles is going to get it done on the inside, offensively, defensively. She is just like Brittany Griner is for Phoenix, she has to be that for the Lynx. But one trade that they made, I thought that Cheryl Reeves did an excellent job of getting Odyssey Sims. She is a playmaker. She comes there via trade, but she will be able to get Sylvia Fowles the basketball. When you have a player like Sylvia Fowles, play with her back to the basket, runs the floor hard, likes to get those lobs on the inside, goes up and gets it in places. I haven't even seen some girls 6'6" go get it. I'm telling you, this is what they're going to have to use. A pick and roll player like Odyssey Sims helps them out, spreads it. Simone Augustus, another pick and roll player. All they're going to need is players to knock down those outside shots when those double teams come.
Well, what about their number 6 draft pick in Nafisa Collier? You know, there's probably a lot of opportunity for her to take advantage of this season.
Well, I'm glad you brought up that nice UConn prospect there.
I knew you were going to get your UConn girls in.
Listen, she's a proven winner, but her versatility on the offensive end is going to pay dividends for Cheryl Reeves. And I tell you this is why, Ross. Because even though her size, she may be undersized in some position, she has probably one of the best kind of mid-range games that I saw coming out of college. She gets that ball, she shoots it high in a place that you cannot block her shots, even if she's undersized. And she wants to learn. She understands what it takes to play in a system. So, hey, I think she may be in the running for Rookie of the Year. Just stick around. I know Jackie Young and, Enrique, a lot of players that are going to play solid, but I wouldn't be surprised if Collar's right there at the top.
A lot to watch for there, but it's time to talk about the defending champions in the Seattle Storm.
Yes.
Obviously, one of the big headlines and unfortunate news was Breanna Stewart tore her Achilles overseas. She will be out. So where does production begin for them?
Well, keep pushing Stewie. That's what I wanted to say first for her. She has to get healthy. But I think the production has to start where it's always started. Even with Stewie being there, that's with Sue Bird. Absolutely. She is their floor general. She is their leader. The experience will come from her. And then you have to look at even Jewel Lloyd and other players. But Sue Bird's versatility, she's going to make sure that everybody understands what their assignments are on the floor. She still has the ability to knock it down from the outside. Defensively, there are some areas where she may have to get a little bit of help, but don't worry about it because she's going to have that team locked in from an IQ standpoint, and that's when they're at their best. And do not sleep on Natasha Howard and Crystal Langhorne. Their front court, they're going to have to offensively and defensively be sound if this team wants to get back to the finals.
I mean, this is a championship roster. I have no doubts that experience counts for a lot. One player I'm looking at, though, is Jewel Lloyd. Is she ready to step up and be a consistent star?
She has to be. I mean, this is an opportunity right now where she's going to have the ball in her hands a lot more because she's a pick and roll player, one of the best on their team. Now, the younger player in Jordan Canada has learned from Sue Bird and came up now, and now it'll also be an opportunity for her. But Lloyd is going to really have to take on possession after possession, not only offensively, but sometimes guarding the other team's best players. So this is an opportunity for her with Stewie being out of the lineup to really show not only is she an all-star, but she's a superstar.
She has that Mamba mentality. I'm sure Kobe's been working with her, talking about seizing this moment.
Yes, and she's going to have to bring it. And I know a lot of players talk about it, but right now the Storm are going to need her to be about it this summer.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the Dallas Wings. A lot of the attention went to the Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that trade are the Dallas Wings. And now no Liz Cambage. That opens up opportunity for who?
It opens up opportunities for a lot of younger players that are hungry. This team right here, for me, they're young, they're hungry, and they are going to be coached well. I won a championship with Brian Nagler, and do not sleep on this Dallas Wings team. And I tell you this, because he understands how to get them to play defensively. Now, offensively, you bring in Mariah Jefferson. She understands what it is to be in a system, to run a system. You bring Enrique Ogumawale. She can score the basketball. How many championships has she been able to secure and win, from ACC to national championships? I think he has younger talent that's going to buy into what he brings to the table. That's coaching experience, that's championship experience, and it's also being a hungry coach. Every day he's going to have them in that gym working out and ready to go.
Talking about leadership, it's not only coach, it's also from your point guard. And Skylar Diggins, one of the leaders in this league, one of the great point guard leaders as well, is still coming back from giving birth to her first child. Congratulations, Sky.
Yes.
And so where does the leadership come from for this team? And not only that, her motor, her competitive drive, how she drives past everybody, that left hand. Where does this come from now while they wait for her return?
Well, they're going to wait for her return on the court, but I can tell you right now, when I saw Skylar Diggins-Smith there and doing an interview basically around her team, she's going to be around them and give them that support. And when you have your franchise and your emotional leader that's still connected to you, that's imperative. But I also think that Mariah Jefferson, I think that her coming there and that experience, playing overseas and now being here, I think that will be a 1-2 punch. Whenever they're both out there on the floor, it'll be really successful for this team.
Right, and she's healthy, which is the main thing.
That's the biggest thing.
And all that speed. So we shall see. Let's move on to another team. You know, we're actually filming this in Atlanta. Let's talk about the Dream.
Yes.
All right. So this is a team I loved going to, just walking down. I walked down the block to watch them play. I live that close. They made a run all the way to the semifinals. How do they build on that?
They have to build on it, understanding what their youth has done. And I think Tiffany Hayes has shown everybody, not only is she an all-star, I mean, can you guys understand this child is an all-star? I mean, I know she went to UConn, but I'm just saying in general, Tiffany has shown and proven with her numbers, with her play, that she can carry a team. You talk about 17 points, 44% field goal percentage. I mean, I don't know what else she needed to do to become an all-star, but I tell you this, she is primed and ready to go. And with Angel McCoughtry not being completely healthy and back rods, that's the other thing is who else is going to step up? I think Sykes. I think Renee Montgomery.
Right.
Those players, they want this time. Last year was just I think a tip of the iceberg of what they can actually accomplish.
Right. Angel McCoughtry is no doubt one of the best players in the world.
Absolutely.
But are you saying with all the talent that they have, perhaps the Dream should create an identity that's stable just off of those players and then ease McCoughtry back in?
I think you have to. I think right now this is not a team that can just be built around the fact that Angel has to do everything. And they've proven they have young talent. The thing the Dream has done over the last, I would say, year or so is develop the young talent. We talk about it all the time, and it's so important. I think now you have to literally let them be loose and go out there and play. And when Angel is healthy and ready to go, that's when you kind of ease her back in so there's no pressure because, listen, everybody wants to be healthy come playoff time.
All right, Swin, our Saturday night game with Chicago Sky and the Minnesota Lynx on 8 p.m. Eastern. It's very exciting. The Chicago Sky, led by the steady hand of Courtney Vandersloot. She has even more gunners to kick it to with the addition of the number 4 draft pick, sharpshooter Katie Lou Samuelson. We'll break it all down coming up next. Jadur, number 3, Tiara McCowan, 4, Katie Lou Samuelson, and 5, Arike Ogunbowale heads to the Dallas Wings. Now, many of the top 5 draft picks were added to the teams that we're calling young and hungry, which are the Chicago Sky, Indiana Fever, New York Liberty, and Connecticut Sun. And now, with the Connecticut Sun, you know, they lost Chiney Ogwumike to LA, but they insist this is not the end of the world. Why?
Well, they understand that they had a lot of offensive players anyway to begin with. And they liked their core that was there. They had Jones, they had Williams, and both the Thomases, and they were able to come out and play collectively as a group. So then you go out and you say, okay, if we're going to lose Shanae, we have to be able to have rebounding. They went out and shored that up in the first round and able to get somebody that could come in and rebound. And you were able to see her play at Cal, right?
Yep, Christine Anigwe.
And she's one of those players, Roz, that I truly think that if she just comes in and she rebounds for them, everybody else offensively, they're a pretty sound team in Connecticut, and they defend you as well.
You know, covering her Cal career, Christine Anigwe, she was constantly compared to Shanae Ogwumike. They might be getting a player that's very similar in that way, and hopefully they can get past that first round hump in the playoffs.
Yeah, because regular season, they're right there, they're successful, they're beating everybody, but then it comes to that first round and you're trying to get over that hump. So you go out and you get a young player that can rebound for you, and everybody else another year overseas, and now you're more mature to see what can happen.
All right, let's head to the New York Liberty. You and I both have spent time there covering the Liberty. And as we know, Tina Charles is excellent. She has been excellent. She carries a huge load for them, and she probably will continue to do that this year. But who can help take some of that responsibility off of her shoulders? Tina's doing so much.
Yeah, she has had to do so much, especially last year. And I think this year, head coach Katie Smith is going to have an opportunity to have some pieces around her, some younger pieces. Hansu, who they got, obviously. And also, think about it. Kia Nurse, this could be a breakout year for her because she's going to move into that starting lineup. They got another young player, that top pick with Asia Durr. We saw her at Louisville. She has the ability to score. But Tina Charles is going to need outside shooters to be able to knock down shots. They also have Brittany Boyd that's there. They're going to need players to make plays. It really just comes down to what system they're going to be in. How are they going to be able to play? They're young, they're hungry, but can they compete and win games night in, night out in this league?
All right, well, the Indiana Fever, they had the worst record in the league last year. They bring in Tiara Sierra McCowan. She was the two-time SEC Defensive Player of the Year. How can they build around her skill set?
Well, her skill set is to be on that low block and dominate. Pokey Chapman has had a player like that in Sylvia Fowles before, so she understands what it takes. She'll make sure offensively and defensively they're utilizing her on each shot of the ball. And keep in mind, they have Tamika Catchings, it's also the GM there, so she's looking for pieces to always add.
Absolutely. Shout out to Catch. And now we move to the Chicago Sky, who still have Courtney Vandersloot handling business, but they have a lot of young talent, sharpshooters. How do they put it all together?
Well, it's going to come down to James Wade. He's won championships. He knows what it feels like over at ECAT in Russia, but now he has this young talent, superstars in the making, because they can shoot the basketball, but can they bring it all together? And Big Mama Steph in the middle. She's one that has been an all-star before.
All right, last season, the unanimous Rookie of the Year was Asia. Welcome back to the 2019 WNBA Preview Show. Swin, we asked you for your cash money predictions for the season. What you got?
Listen, Roz, I don't know if anybody's going to cash out on these predictions, but you asked, so I shall give them to you.
Thank you.
Rookie of the Year, I think we're going to be looking at Jackie Young winning this award. Why? Because she's in a prime position, Roz, with a front court that's going to do a bulk of the work. She'll have opportunities to really just shine and thrive out there in Las Vegas. And then my MVP this year, I think it's going to be Elena Delle Donne. I think she's healthy, in a perfect position, and she wants to get back to the finals. Also, I'm not giving you a champion. I'm just going to give you two teams that I think will be there. One's the Aces because of that front court I talked about, and the Washington Mystics again. They are a team that just plays so well together. Coach Tebow will have them ready to go. No, I'm not giving you a prediction. I know you want one.
I asked you for a prediction. You gave us a finals prediction.
This is because I'm an athlete. We're former athletes. We don't give you a team. We roll the ball out there. Who wants it, ladies? Go get it.
Who wants it? Well, thank you so much for your insights. Swin Cash. I'm Roz Gold on Wood. Thank you all for watching the 2019 WNBA Preview Show. Cheers!